Hi, I'm Steve, and I am no zookeeper, but I am an unpaid intern. So if you don't know, you're about to know that basically for my entire life, as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a zookeeper. It's what I've wanted to do. I've always loved animals. I've always been loving going to the zoo, and any zoo that I can. Recently, I have accomplished a major life goal of mine. I am an intern at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Everyone clap at me, clap for Steve. He's done it, he's made it, he's thriving, he's living. My internship at the Milwaukee County Zoo is actually my third internship. I interned last fall at the Caldwell Zoo in Texas. I interned in the beginning of this year at the Racine Zoo in Racine. And now, over the summer, I worked at the giraffe feeding deck, which included some intern work. And now I'm a full-time intern. I mean, not full-time, part-time intern. But still, I'm interning, I'm doing what I love it, I really enjoy it, but I've noticed a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to change about myself have changed as a result of being an intern, or zookeeper. First and foremost, the way I take care of my pets. I keep track, especially Sean. I keep better track of what she's eating and when and how much. I've changed the way that I feed her. This spring, I'm fairly certain that she was trying to lay eggs because she'd be up on her deck and she'd be digging with her back feet, and then I'd take her outside, but she wouldn't dig a hole. So I was really concerned, and I was trying to figure out a way to get her to lay these eggs. I got a tub with a bunch of dirt and I put her in that for a couple of hours each day, and nothing is working. I did eventually find the eggs, but it was stressful for me. And just overall record keeping. I write on my calendar every time I change her filter and every time I change out her water. I measured her with a ruler on her birthday and weighed her. So I'm taking care of Sean the way that she would be taken care of in a zoo to the best of my capacity. I know her tank is a little small for her, okay? You don't think for a second that if I had the money or the space to get her a nice big tank that she deserves that I would? No, of course I would. It's just that I physically and financially cannot. So just before you start commenting, calm down. There she is. Now, for a while, I was also trying to clean the glass every day so that you wouldn't have these gross... Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. So it wouldn't have the gross water spots, but, that didn't last. The water spots don't affect her life negatively, I just don't like what it looks like. A similar thing happened with Max when I came back from Texas. I started measuring out his food to a T, whereas before, we had a little cup that we'd scoop and it'd be like, about, this much food. But I was measuring, I drew a line. Unfortunately, it didn't last long because we did have to put Max down on January 24th of this year. It was very sad, and it still is very sad, and I miss him every single day. He was my boy, my number one pal, my buddy, my pup, and I miss him very much. The biggest thing that has changed, by a landslide, far and away, the most difference that I can tell between pre-interning Steve and now interning Steve is the things, the chores, the housekeeping that I choose to do in my free time. For example, I once cleaned the garage. Now, let me explain. The garage cement floor in my garage feels disgusting. I don't know what's on there. It's oily or just grease or just built up gunk and dirt. It's disgusting. So, there was a day where I swept out the garage, I hosed the garage, I scrubbed the garage, and then I rinsed the garage, and then I squeegeed the garage dry, and I realized I'm just working. I'm doing my job, but in my garage. That's what I do with the animal stalls at work. I push everything into a pile, I scoop up the pile, I spray down the stall with a hose, I scrub the stall, and then I rinse the stall, and I squeegee the stall. I'm just doing work, but at home. And for no reason. It didn't matter, really, if the garage floor was clean or not. There's no reason to do it. Another thing is the deck outside. We had a rug, an indoor-outdoor rug in front of the door. We recently took that rug into the garage because it's getting cold and too cold and gross outside. But underneath the rug, the deck was kind of gross. So what did I do? I sprayed the gross part, and I scrubbed the gross part, and I sprayed the gross part, and, you know, it still looks a little gross. It didn't do what I hoped it would, but I'm just doing work at home. Chores in my free time for fun? What? I also had to invest in a watch because I didn't feel good about taking out my phone and checking what time it was, you know, and when I'm working, you just gotta look at the wrist. And now, so I'm a watch wearer now, but only at work. So when I'm not at work and I need to know what time it is, I find myself doing this. I look as if there's a watch there, but there isn't, because I hate this watch. It's too fast, it's too difficult to change, and I'm just waiting to get a better watch, so it'll do. Another thing that's changed is the way that I visit a zoo. Before, when I would go to a zoo, especially a new zoo that I hadn't been to before, I would go, you know, and still do, for the animals and for the exhibits, look around, you know, all the exciting things that you go to a zoo for, but with a new added perspective of, man, I wonder what this is like to clean. I wonder how this works for the animals. I look around the exhibit and at the different keeper areas and doors and things, and I think to myself, how does this work? How I'll see something and I'll go, oh man, this must be a bitch to clean. Or oh wow, that seems pretty nice. Or, oh, this animal isn't out. I wonder if it's too cold, or how the routine is different, because animals are at the zoo, for the most part, routine. You do the same things at relatively the same times in the same way every day until the weather changes so much that you can't let them outside or can't, you know, do X, Y, or Z for any reason at all. I pick up on these new things. Like if there's a nice day, an unseasonably warm day in early spring, lots of the animals that go out when it's warm probably aren't going to go out that day because it's just 1 or 2 days of nice weather before it gets back into the cold, and that would just screw everything up, confuse the animals, and throw off their routine. So the way I go to a zoo is different now as well. I've always been generally easily annoyed at stupid people at the zoo, but to a new extent, now that I have worked at zoos, stupid people, stupid guests, really just annoy me more than ever before. Don't be stupid at a zoo, alright? Thank you. I'm sure there's more, there's gotta be more, but none that come to the top of my head. So, that, in a nutshell, is what I can think of off the top of my head that has changed since I have become a zookeeper. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make someone smile today. I hope you smile today. I'm not even gonna say all the things that I say. The world is bad, but just hope for the better. Bye!